Guys, in today's video, we are going to talk about romanticizing a trip or move to the Philippines versus what the reality might be when you do travel out here or move out here. Now, most people, the appeal to the Philippines, let's be honest, number one is women, right? It's always going to be women for the major appeal to the Philippines. But you also have tropical island, lower cost of living, friendly people. But a lot of people just don't think about the challenges that they're going to have as well. Finding things in common with women here, the poverty, the brownouts, issues with internet, not to be able to perform their favorite pastimes perhaps, or get the type of diet or amenities that they're used to. So in today's video, we are going to discuss, are you romanticizing the Philippines before traveling or moving out here, or aren't you? So we're going to kind of go here. Number one, cultural difference. A lot of people just never really grasp the differences in culture. For example, the Filipino time, showing up late, and here it doesn't bother them if you show up 30 minutes late. It's almost expected. You'd be shocked if you are on time. A lot of people just can't get over that. For me, I struggled with that quite a bit. I lost out on probably quite a few dates because I would just get up and leave. And I would say, and then she would message, say, hey, I just arrived. And I'd say, hey, sorry, I'm already gone. Things like really putting the family at the center of their life. Family is everything. And even sometimes before the husband or the boyfriend. So you have to get used to that. And also, they have like a sense of shame or modesty here, which sometimes can create an outright lie just to save face. And so we're just not quite used to that in the West. So there are things that you need to get used to with cultural differences that you may not be used to in the West. Language barriers. A lot of people, the big attraction to moving to the Philippines versus like Thailand or Vietnam is English. And you come here and you expect to get off the plane and just be able to communicate with everybody just perfectly. But no, that's not always the case. They don't get your sarcasm. They may not get your jokes, or they just don't understand a lot of the vocabulary. Or sometimes they don't really understand English at all. Some of the older people or people out in the province where they just don't get to use their English on a regular basis, like perhaps in the city of like Cebu or other places. So the myth of everybody speaks English just so perfectly because, there's call centers and everything here. That is not the case. Again, you will find lots of people who speak English very well. Hence the reason why there's so many call centers here. And people get a lot of virtual assistants here because of the English teachers as a second language. So yeah, there is some truth in it, but also there's a flip side. There's many times where you'll go to meet a girl's parents and they speak no English, or you go out to the province to meet them and you are really like an outsider. You're sitting there while they're all communicating in Tagalog, Visayan, Ilonggo, whatever the language may be. Another one is navigating bureaucracy, getting things done in a different system. I went through that when it came time to get married to Maya. Just some of the things you had to do just didn't make any sense. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And I lost my cool and kind of made it where I couldn't even get married in Dumaguete. I had to go outside of Dumaguete and do it. And a lot of times with a driver's license, they'll have crazy rules. Like they stopped, for example, you're required to get a driver's license in the Philippines if you've been here longer than 90 days, because your license from your home country is only good for the first 90 days. Part of the requirement that for getting a license in the Philippines is they want you to have your extension in your ACR card, and they want 6 months left of your extension. Well, they don't do 6-month extensions anymore, but it doesn't stop them from still requiring that. So the best thing to do is you really need to get to know a Filipino or have a Filipino girlfriend, have some friends, and really understand how things are done and maybe even let them help you, because understand because navigating the bureaucracy here can be a major pain. And so it really tests your patience. You have a lot of patience in the Philippines. Healthcare system, access, costs, insurance. Again, something that we come here and we're maybe used to having pretty good healthcare or getting right in. And in the US, they have to treat you even if there's an emergency, and then they worry about billing you later. Well, here it works opposite. They want a payment first before they treat you. And we're just not used to that. So you have to kind of understand the way things work. You need to find a good doctor, find a good private hospital. You have to understand that maybe you need to have money accessible for your partner to be able to pay the doctor if something happens. There's a lot to it, and you need to really kind of fully understand what's going on with the healthcare. And there's links in the for the travel insurance I recommend, or if you're going to live here, there's links for contacting Michael, who can help you get a quote for health insurance. Living costs and budget, what to expect versus reality. A lot of people, they watch so many videos and they forget about a lot of different things like visa costs, transportation, maybe the food, maybe the certain types of food that they really can't live without, higher costs for that, entertainment. Just there's a lot of things that people they watch budget videos. And some of these budget videos, including mine, sometimes we forget some of the things that pop up, and extra costs and having money for an emergency fund in case of medical. You really kind of have to plan it very well and be prepared for the unexpected, because the reality is emergencies can pop up here and you need to be even better prepared with cash than you would in the West. And a lot of people also struggle with this next one, and that's finding community. In other words, combating loneliness and being homesick. A lot of people, they get out here and it's like a double-edged sword. They don't want to be around a lot of expats, but at the same time, they want some expat friends. Or other guys, they want to live in an expat area because they want it's like a comfort zone to them. And a lot don't want that at all and are okay with being alone. So you kind of have to find that happy medium. And it does take, just like finding the right girl here, finding good friends here can take quite a bit of time too. I really did not have good friends until the last few years here, to be honest. It takes time. Just because they're from the same home country as you doesn't mean you guys are going to be best friends. Trust me. A lot of these people here, you may have nothing in common with. If you were back in your home country, you would probably have nothing in common with, and your paths wouldn't cross. And so a lot of people kind of forego that, and they think, oh, well, he's from my home country, we're just going to be best of buds. But that's not the case always. So it does take some effort getting involved in the community. I definitely tell people, get out and meet Filipinos as well. Don't just surround yourself with only expats. It's good to have a mix. You really should have a mix of different people. You need to survive here. You need really to have some Filipino friends that can help you navigate, the way the Philippines work. You also need to adapt to infrastructure. And that means with brownouts, power, internet, water. The other day we had no water for the day. Our landlord was really good about it. He got the water back on the same day, and it was on a weekend. But you have to understand, this is not your home country where you can have a plumber out within an hour. That's not the way things work here. You can't have, with the internet, you sometimes just don't have control. It's outside of your control. Calling the people over at the internet company and waiting forever to talk to somebody, and then them saying, okay, we can get somebody out there in 3 days. Again, this is not your home country. Things work totally different. You should always have some backup plans. You can't get on the internet? Well, go get yourself a home Wi-Fi, temporary, or be prepared to take your laptop over to the coffee shop for the next few days. Or for a little while, one time I was out of water, we didn't have water for a couple of days. I was just taking my showers at the gym. I would work out, shower. You just kind of have to adapt. There are things that can make it much better, like solar power, a backup generator if you live in a condo or even a house, water reserves, having multiple jugs. Just if you have to take the traditional Filipino tabo shower. I've done it before. Then you do what you have to do, but you have to remember this is not your home country. Things don't work in the same way. You will be frustrated if you think that's the way it's going to be. Safety, security, you got to stay vigilant. You got to be aware. Really, for the most part, I find it to be safer than the US as far as like violent crimes and things like theft, break-ins have been a little bit more common in the Dumaguete area. It's been happening more than I would like, to be honest, but it happens in the US. You have to take steps to protect yourself. Camera on your front door, like in the form of a doorbell, lights that activate when somebody steps in the area, motion sensor, or a lockbox bolted to the floor. Just multiple things that you can do to make sure you're better protected. Living in a condo is always a great option. I always tell people, if you're single or you're first coming out to the Philippines, a condo really should be exactly where you go initially until you get the lay of the land. You got security. You have to sign in when you come into a condo. You can't just get some crazy ex-girlfriend who can walk right in and walk right up to your condo. That doesn't happen with a condo. So that's why I always recommend that. But just be aware and be vigilant. And the last one, honestly, patience is really key here. You have to just embrace the slower pace of life. If you want to successfully transition here in the Philippines, you need to have patience. I know several expats, they get so heated and so upset over things when things don't go their way. And again, this is not the US or Australia or the UK. Things do not work the same way. Getting upset at somebody and yelling does not have the same effect that it would maybe in the US, where you start to get angry, then maybe a manager comes out and tries to smooth everything over and make everything right. Here, it really has the opposite effect. It just does not work that way. So you have to find patience. And if you are stressed out in the US, coming here sometimes doesn't fix that. Sometimes people come over and they become more stressed. They become more agitated. So you either have to kind of accept it or it's just going to stress you out. So patience is really key. And depending where you live and everything and your places you frequent, shop, eat, things like that, that can certainly have some bearing in that. So again, there are going to be challenges coming out to the Philippines. There's myth versus reality. It should really be a reality check because it is not always going to go the way you think it's going to go. There is this myth that people still think that they're going to step off the plane, a 300-pound guy who's 70 years old, they think women are flocking to be with him. That is not the case anymore, especially with the social media and everybody's got internet now, at least Wi-Fi or at least data connection on their phones. They have more ability to chat with foreigners from all over. It's no longer you are the only game in town. And so you got to go to where the expats aren't. That's just the truth of it. I just had a friend who came here. He thought he would find love. And I don't think he gave it a proper try. I think he's only been here maybe 6 months and he thought he was just going to find love right away. It's not a race. Here, it's going to take time and patience. Again, I tell people this all the time. You may never be alone on a Friday night. It'll always probably be pretty easy to find a date. But to find the right one still takes effort, time, and patience. There's some guys that fly over, they land, and a girl they've been chatting with a month or two in advance, they meet her and things are perfect. And they meet a great girl and boom, they're already in a great relationship. Most of us, that does not happen. It takes time. It took me 5 years here before I found Maya. And so, again, time, patience, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a period of adjustment. You need to come out here and really definitely give the Philippines a good 90 days, 6 months preferably, but at least 90 days before you know whether it's a good fit or not. So comments, let me know below, guys. Check out my website for more information, geointhephilippines.com. I love hearing from people. You can also email me at geointhephilippines@gmail. You can follow me on social media. My links are in the description. Geo in the Philippines on Facebook, Geo in the Philippines on Instagram. See you guys next time.